Hey everybody, Candace here with Greener Farms DIY, and today I'm going to teach you how to make these fun little face masks. And so these are really great for people who like to touch their face a lot. And so I'm going to teach you how to put the elastic in. I'm going to also talk to you a little bit about how to get the embroidery in there without it being seen on the back side. So we're going to go ahead and step through this project and have a lot of fun as we go. So I hope a lot of you are able to watch this as we go through making this fun little project. It looks like we have somebody on, so you must be getting those notifications that we went live. So the first thing that we're going to do is just make sure we have the right supplies. Okay, and so the design is free out there with the coupon code that's on our Facebook group for Green Roof Farms DIY. It's going to sew out a template. So you got your toddler, you got your youth, you got kind of like the adult woman and then the adult man size. And notice this is not growing this way. It's growing in 3 different ways. And so if you need to make it a little bit bigger because maybe it's a bigger face or maybe there's, a beard or something like that, then you're going to just make it a little bit larger on your template as you go around. So if you need to make it super large, you'd probably add an extra 1/4 inch up here and a 1/4 inch here, taper it back down, and then maybe add a 1/4 inch to this side. So this is meant as a guide to help guide you through it. I use a strong cutaway when I make this, and so that way I'm able to reuse it over and over and over again. Now, when you're going to be doing your fabric, it's really important that you understand that there's directional prints. Now, I like pre-washed fabric, so you start with your pre-washed fabric. And since it's directional, you don't want to have, let me give you an example of it. We're going to be sewing these together on the curve. And so, if this one's going to face, I sewed these 2 wrong, that's right. Or I cut those 2 wrong. So in order for them to go the right way, we're going to be sewing all of these pieces together. And if we did it without them facing face to face, then you would have a piece that's the wrong direction. So you want to make sure that your right sides are touching one another, just like this. Okay, and you want to start with pre-washed cotton fabric. I like that after it's been nice pressed, nice and flat. And I don't use any fabric softener either when I'm doing this. Okay, I get this cording on Amazon. It's 100 yards. This one's black. It's a 1 millimeter black elastic cording. They have some fun rainbow ones, so this is really nice and really easy to use. And I simply just take my template and I start cutting out my pattern pieces. So you can pin it down, you can do, however you're going to do it. I just put it down on one raw edge and then I just cut. I cut. And then I turn it. And so when I'm done, I have my piece all cut out. Very simple. Okay. You're going to repeat that with your lining fabric. So you're going to be doing another set for the lining. And the reason why is when you look at the inside of your mask, it has a cotton here, and then it has the exterior. We're going to be sewing them inside out. So if I was to flip this all the way around, you're going to see the back side of the embroidery because I embroidered that piece before I attach the front and the back together. Okay, and you're also going to want to put your strings in there before you close it up too. So once you get it all done, you're able to go around and top stitch. Now, if the person you intended this to go to has a smaller face, you can always put like a little knot in it, and that makes that elastic band a little bit tighter on their face and around their ears. I finish it off with a top stitch, which makes it really nice. And now I'm going to take you through how we go about sewing this together. So now once you cut it and it's face to face, I mean, you're pretty much there. Now all we got to do is do a straight stitch on it. So I'm going to line these up and we're going to go over to the sewing machine because we are a sewing group and I want to show how to do this. All right, so when you're here, you're going to go ahead and just follow it all the way around. Follow that curve. It's a nice curve. All right, that's as much sewing as you're going to do. You're going to do that nice little curve right there. And we're going to go through and we're going to repeat that. All right, and now that we got that piece done, we're now going to use a quilting technique. We're going to open it up and press our seams to one side, and then we're going to come back through and top stitch it. We're going to repeat it with this one, and I like to push this to the opposite side and put a little straight stitch down it. So for that, I come over to my nifty little ironing area. And all we're going to do is we're going to press that seam to one side. Just like that. So when I look on the inside, I see that my seam is pressed to one side, and then I'm able to go through and give that a nice top stitch. And then that is the nice curve that we're also going to get over our nose with. So you want to make sure you get that curve all nice and pulled out. All right, and I got this one done as well. So now I'm going to be able to go and top stitch this. So we're going to go back over to the sewing machine and we're going to top stitch this. Now this is a curve, so you just got to kind of curve it up towards the, the foot. And just slowly work through it. As you do more and more, you're going to get more practice with this. All right, so when I open it, it's nice and flat. We got a nice top stitch going all the way down it. Nice curve, looks perfect. And now we're going to repeat with this inside lining. Now, naturally, you would not be using the color of thread that I'm using right now. I'm just using the dark colors just to show you. I gotta get my fabric moved over. Now you probably see that I'm finger pressing it as we go right here, just to kind of, it's a very, quarter inch, eighth of an inch is not much, but all I'm trying to do is get that seam to ride flat. So now we're pretty much done, other than we need to put our elastic cording in there. So we're going to be sewing it all the way around face to face, so that way our finished seams are on the inside. We're going to leave ourselves a little turning hole, but first we got to put those little pieces of elastic in there. So we're going to go back over to the cutting table, and I'll show you a little bit about how to do that. So you have to figure out how much elastic you need for your face or for the person that you're making this for. And I think this is, let's take a look. This is 7.5 inches. So maybe it's a little smaller face. Depending on the face will determine how many inches you're going to use. And let's see, this one, I think they're both exactly the same. So perfect. So what I want to do is go ahead and get this pinned in place, or taped in place, I should say. And I like to do these all in big batches. So I'll do a whole bunch of just sewing these pieces and a whole bunch of putting my elastic in place. Now, when you go to sew this, if you're using this cording, I highly encourage, tying like a little knot in it, so that way it doesn't back out of that sewing thread, and it actually catches, so you're going to actually catch it right there in that seam. That's really important. So you'd be setting it just outside your sew line. And then I think this is going to end up being too small. This is like if I was going to work with a toddler. So I'm going to make it 9 inches, because I'm going to go ahead and put this on probably my face and have that, get that back. All right, so what I mean by tying that knot, because this is really tiny cording, is you want to get it kind of right up to that edge, you know, so then we have a little knot. And that way it's not going to pull out, you know, it's not going to pull out as easy because your knot is right behind that seam or that top stitch. So that's why we're doing it this way. All right, and you're going to want to repeat with the bottom side too. So you want to make sure that you put that knot on both sides. If you make this and you find that you need more elastic, we'll consider this a good test and then go back and make another one. These take, if I'm not filming and I'm able to just focus on doing it and not talking at the same time, I can get one of these made, you know, easily in 5 minutes. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and tape this in place, and then I'm going to give you a close-up view of what this looks like. Just got my tape too long, and I don't want it so long because I know I'm going to be sewing that seam. All right, so William, if you would go ahead and zoom in a little bit so people can see what I'm talking about. So when we sew the outer edge, we're going to be about right here. You know, we're going to be 1/4 of an inch in. So it's important to have your knots hanging off your raw edge. So that way they're, when you flip it open, they're actually caught. Your top stitch is going to come through and catch it again. But this just ensures that it's not going to back out. So that's really important. Now we're going to go ahead and repeat the other side. So I think we were at 9 inches on that, so we're going to go ahead and do 9 inches. And I'm using the rainbow cord right now. All right. So I would imagine you'd cut a whole bunch of these, and maybe while you're watching TV, just tie your knots in the ends. But it's takes a little dexterity. All right, so I got it. Now we're going to go ahead and tape this one in place. So I put it right off the edge. I tape it, and then I grab another piece of tape, and I tape it. So what we're doing is, this is the part that's going to be for the ears, you know, the piece that goes around your ears, and your mouth is going to be in that curve area, and so is your nose. Now, if you're going to embroider it like I embroidered it, this is the Kiss This embroidery design set that's out there, also in the spring release folder. A little challenging with that curvature, you know. I would recommend, if you're not as experienced with embroidery, to maybe do it on the flat side over here, but you know, I was able to navigate it pretty well and get it onto the curve. You're going to want to embroider this before you tape these elastic pieces in place, and get it nice and embroidered before you join your pieces. So that way you don't see the dark side of the embroidery, the back side of the embroidery. All right, so once we're all in there, we're going to line this up, make sure everything matches all the way around. It does. And now we're able to sew it. So feel free to pin it if you're not as experienced of a sewer, but like me, I just kind of go with it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is stitch. We're going to lift our needle up. We're going to create a little turning hole. It's really important because you want to get in there. Waiting for my needle drop, and it didn't drop. All right, now we're going to do the curved part, which is a little bit tricky, but if you just hold your hand there, you just start to go around. It's pretty darn simple. It looks like I got a little string from seam right there.
Barbara, you can buy the cording off of Amazon, and I believe there's a couple other retailers that'll have it, but we got ours off of Amazon.
And we'll show a picture of that in just a second, Barbara. All right, so now we're on the other straight edge. We're gonna go right over that cording. And I like to just back up real quick on it. And now we're on the bottom. So you can choose your turning pocket to be the bottom, or you can choose it to be the top, or you can choose it to be the side. It's just wherever you want to put that turning pocket. All right, we're all done. So, I mean, it really does go quite quick. So now what we want to do is we want to stick our thumb all the way on the inside, find the edge, push your middle finger through, which brings all of your fabric out. Okay. And voila, we got ourselves the making of a mask. We're going to untape it, you know, because that tape's holding it down. You can keep your tape and reuse it on another one. Tape's pretty forgiving if you don't ruin it. And I have one more to untape. And then now we're going to go over to the ironing board. All right, so you just want to make sure you stick your finger in there and you get your corners popped out. You know, that's pretty good. You know, this isn't a fashion statement. I mean, this is really to keep you from touching your face. And you're going to have this raw edge right here. So you just want to tuck those in so we can iron them nice and flat. All right, so we got that. And all I'm doing is going around and just ironing it nice and flat so I can go through with the top stitch and kind of finish it off and make it look a little pretty. It's also going to help it when it washes if you do this, because we do want to wash these. You know, if you go out and you touch your face a lot, you know, a lot of ookiness can be on this. So after you wear it and take it off, you should put a new one on, you know, and throw this in the washer. So this looks really good. We're going to go back to the sewing machine and we're going to top stitch this. All right, so first thing we want to do is we want to close this little hole right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and start on this edge.
Barbara, yes, we can provide the link to the cording, but not currently right now. We'll have to do it in a minute when we're done with the live stream.
And Barbara, I also put that information on the Facebook group for Greener Farms DIY. A picture of my order, so where I got it from. All right, so now we're almost done. We're coming around. We're in the home stretch. And knowing that people are watching, I go much slower. So, like I said, if you do a whole bunch of these, you can whip a lot of these out in no time. Remember to back up over your stitches to close them. All right, we are done. I'm going to go ahead and just trim some of these little strings. I am not putting this on my face because this is made for somebody in our community here who really needs a no-touch face mask, and I make these free for the people who need them, because right now I think anything helps, and if this helps provide somebody a barrier from touching their face when they go out, more power to them. As well as myself, I wear these when I go out in public, and you can see it's nice and pretty. If I was using white thread, you wouldn't even see these stitching lines, but I'm going to go ahead and this is a nice elastic. We locked it in so we don't have any issues with it just pulling straight out. And that's how you make the face mask, the no-touch face mask. And so these are just really great for those people who are hand touchers. I'm going to go ahead and give this to the lady. I am going to advise that she washes it before she wears it. But now I have peace of mind knowing that I top stitched it all the way around, that we're not going to have any issues with it coming apart in the washer. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching and for supporting me as a digital design artist. I I really appreciate having you guys part of the Greener Farms DIY Facebook group. Without your support, none of this would be possible, and we're all in this together, all around the world. So definitely, everyone, please feel free to download this pattern and continue to make it. So I'm going to go ahead and end this Facebook or this YouTube live. William's going to take us to the end of the video, and then I'm going to hop on the Facebook group and make sure we don't have any questions out there.
All right. Hey guys, so I just wanted to say we are super close to our 4,000 hour goal on our YouTube channel. This is a really good milestone. We're also trying to get as many subscribers as possible. So if you could shout out our channel to any friends you have or anyone like that may be interested in our content, that'd be great. Go through and watch all the videos, leave comments of stuff that you actually liked in the videos, stuff that we could do differently. A lot of our videos were before we started actually really editing the videos, but any constructive criticism would be great. But the link is on the Facebook group, or you can just share it to them. And I guess this is the end of the video. So have a good one, guys.